Hi, it's the 3rd of August 2019 and I've really neglected the allotment for the last 2 weeks. The first week we were away. Luckily, it had been very dry up until that point and I had watered everything like crazy before we went, but then we had some downpours while we were away, so everything's grown, including the weeds, and we came back and kind of mopped up a bit, but the second week, because we'd been away for a week, we had a lot of things to do in the business to catch up, and so we haven't really had a chance to do much in the allotment in that time, and it's been left to its own devices. It's looking a bit like a jungle. There's a lot of stuff going on there, so I took some photos which I'm going to show you. So here you can see the main crop potatoes in the foreground, looking quite green and lush, and behind them 4 pyramids of beans, 2 of which are looking a bit weedy and 2 of which are looking very lush. And the only reason I can think of for this is the ones on the left, I didn't put any fish blood and bone in the ground when I planted them. You know, they say you should water tomatoes a lot and you should feed them. Well, the tomatoes out here have had no special treatment and they still appear to be producing fruit and they look fine so far. The pepper plants are coming along, although they're not as far on as the one I have at home, which I started off in the conservatory. On the left here you can see the potatoes rather overwhelming the beetroots. When I planted them there was room, but obviously the potatoes have grown. And then the rows of carrots and leeks. Again, the leeks had plenty of space and now the carrots are growing up around them, but the carrots will be coming out soon and then the leeks can take over. This is the main potato bed which we're beginning to harvest. The haulms are beginning to flop down, and so I think the light is going to be penetrating through the top layers of chippings and stuff and making the potatoes green. Not only that, but the rats will be coming and chewing their way through them all. So what we want to do is harvest these in good time this year and put them somewhere safe. Now the problem with that is we don't have a potato cellar, we don't have anywhere cool, and it's just the beginning of August, so we've got to find a way of preserving them from the heat and the dryness and the light and everything until the autumn months when we want to be eating them. Those 2 cabbages in the background are the winter cabbages I complained about so much. And they filled out, they hearted up beautifully, they're giant cabbages. But because we went away, we just haven't had an opportunity to eat them, which is rather sad. And they've probably burst now, I haven't checked, but it's rained so much. The squashes and cucumbers on the compost berm are going great guns. There's the plant at the bottom of the berm that was self-seeded. I have no idea what type it is, and I've allowed it to grow, but it's threatening to take over the leeks in that bed there. The 2 stands of sweet corn are growing well. The one on the left is the main crop sweet corn and the one on the right is the mini pop, which we had a couple the other day. They're very tender and delicious. The chickpeas have produced pods, but I'm not sure how much pea production is going on inside those pods, and the plants are beginning to die down, so whether it's worth doing them again remains to be seen. This is just stuff waiting to be cleared so I can spread manure on it. On the right is the remains of the broad bean plants, which have quite a lot of broad beans on them. They did so well, and I'm going to dry those. When we got back, the runner beans had already produced a crop that had been too far gone to eat, so I picked them all off, and there will be more. And the courgette plant had 3 giant courgettes, which I've picked, and hopefully there will be more on that too. This is one of the onion beds. Before we went away, I spread manure over it, watered it well, and covered it with plastic so the worms can work away at it and it'll be ready for next time we want to plant something, I hope. The hazel hedge is really beginning to bush out, except for the gaps, which we did fill last autumn with some more seedlings from the garden. And a couple of them are doing okay, but the one in the middle is looking distinctly yellow and weedy. And you can see next to it there's a loganberry, which is also stunted, and I think this is because the council sprayed at the bottom of the fence with weed killer and it blew across onto these 2 plants. There's the other hazel seedling, which is twice as big. So I've got all the broad bean plants out, and it's a good thing I did, really. It should have been sooner. You can see the pods have gone all black, and quite a few of them have actually split and deposited their load on the ground. And that's where they were. I also dug up a whole carrier bag full of volunteer potatoes. So we've started hauling in the potato harvest and looking for somewhere to put it. I've got my first dry bean harvest drying in the conservatory. And I've hung up some strings of onions, which this year I didn't let them dry out too much because last year I couldn't even string them. The stalks got so papery they broke up. So I'm happy with that. See you next time. Bye.